Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Laith, and today we're going to be talking about something super exciting. OpenAI just released their new AgentKit. And if you know me, I am a very firm believer that agent workflows and agent builders are the future of how we interact with AI. Previously, the only way to build AI tools was through code. And then as the years came around, we saw tools like Cursor, Replit, and Windsurf completely change the landscape and democratize how we interact with AI and how we build applications with AI. Now, today, OpenAI released AgentKit, which allows users to build agent workflows, and it's a completely new way to interact with AI. We previously saw this with tools like N8n and Zapier, but having OpenAI understand and appreciate agent builders is very big because that means the idea is validated and they see a future in this too. And today I'm going to be talking about AgentKit, what it is, how you can use it to benefit yourself and build applications, and we're going to actually build a flow very quickly in this video, and you guys can get some inspiration to be able to build something on your own. And I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. Now, without further ado, let's get started. So agents and AgentKit is basically a system that allows you to build agentic AI applications using nodes. And each node, you can think of it as a step that an AI will take using the data that you've provided it with. So you can build these intelligent workflows and you can actually deploy them and optimize and fix them however you want. So if you go to the platform.openai.com, we can see some developer logs and developer documentation that will allow us to understand better what you can do with the agent. The first thing to build a agent workflow is actually starting. And you can go to the agent kit. You can go to the agent builder right here, and then you can click open agent builder, and you should have an account with the platform.openai.com, and you can set up building through that, and then you'll be able to create a work. Now, once you go ahead and you can click create a workflow, and you're presented with something that's super familiar, which is similar to how N8n and Zapier and all these technology companies are building workflows with nodes. And as I mentioned before, nodes are like steps. Now, you have the starting node, which basically kicks off this workflow. And then you have an agent. An agent is your AI. It's your personal ChatGPT. And in your agent, you can name it and you can instruct it on what you want to do. So let's get started with naming the agent. Once we've named the agent, I'm going to call it recipe agent. And I want to create an agent that helps me figure out what I want to eat for dinner. I have a very bad relationship with figuring out what I want to eat. And I always end up ordering takeout and spending way too much money. So today we're going to be building a recipe agent that tells you exactly what you want to eat. So we can add some instructions for the agent. Now, once we've done the instructions, I've decided to say that you are a Michelin star chef with extensive knowledge of recipes and foods. Now, I didn't write this. I actually clicked right here to enhance the prompt. I told it to create a system prompt/instruction for a recipe agent that is a Michelin star chef that recommends what I should have to eat for dinner. And I clicked update and it created this system instructions for me. Now you can also add context, and that means you can add the input text right here. And the input text is what you insert into the chat window, because once you get started and you click preview, you can send it your input text. This is input text. This would be input text. Now, once you are done with creating the system prompt, we don't need the input text as context here. We can include chat history, and including chat history means include the previous history of what was on the chat. So anything that you've written before that message, you will inherit in your agent. Now, the model, you can choose whichever model you want. We're just gonna use ChatGPT 5. I'm not gonna use Pro because Pro is extremely expensive. We're gonna use GPT-5. The reasoning effort should be medium. Now you can also add tool calling, so like an MCP server or a file search or a web search, or maybe a code interpreter, whatever you want. We're gonna do web search because we wanna search for recipes online. Let's see what else we can add. We don't have much, but you could theoretically add file search, and we can add our own recipe book. So if you have a recipe book with your family member or partner, you can add it right here and it will recommend from the recipes that you already have. So we don't have something right now, so we're not gonna really click on anything. We're not gonna choose anything. What's interesting is now you can check out the output formats. Now you have 3 output formats, either a text, which is simple text document, you can have JSON, and you can have something called widgets, which is part of ChatKit. Now you can create a widget using the Widget Studio. And this is awesome. I really love this. It adds a whole different layer to your answers, because instead of having a text answer, which is not very great in what we're used to on ChatGPT, you can have something that looks a bit better. So we can take a look at what we can create. Maybe we can create a new widget. Okay, so we've created a nice little widget here. So we can actually download it and we can upload, and then we have this cooking agent widget. Now, I realized something. I want to make sure that it's not recommending something too fancy. So we're not going to say that it's a Michelin star chef. Affordable and quick recipes. Let's make sure that's being returned. Now, I realized something that's really important, and I just detached the recipe agent from the start node, and I want to add a guardrail. I want to make sure that you can't hack this agent. Now, there's something called prompt injecting or jailbreaking agents or AI or large language models. In a sense, people will start to try to inject information or try to call information and retrieve information or personal information from your agent. So for example, if your agent is attached to a database, it will try to get personal information or try to jailbreak it to say some things about your company or your product that you don't want it to. So you can select pre-existing guardrails like PII data. So you are not allowed to detect personal identifiable information being passed. You can also moderate, block harmful content, also prompt injection. So we want to make sure that users can't use this recipe agent for anything else. So if you fail here, you can add something else like maybe an end. So like we can add an end node here and it ends the call, for example. So that's really important for us. And I realized that as I was looking through these things. So that's generally what you can do here. Okay, so we are done with our flow. I tried to improve it a bit. What you can do is now click preview and you can ask it. Now I can ask it, I would like a vegan dish for tonight, but I suffer from acid reflux, so nothing spicy, for example. Because I try not to eat some spicy stuff at the end of the night because of acid reflux. So for example, let's say that. So it's going to go ahead and search for things, and it's going to craft a vegan dish. So it's going to do some tool calling, maybe some internet calling to understand what you want, and then it will create a nice recipe. Now, the results might be janky because of our widget is not optimized. There we go. We got some really good results. So we got gentle roasted vegan and veggies and quinoa, and we got soothing ginger rice bowl with whatever. So it's pretty cool. Let's ask it, what's the capital of the USA? For example, we're gonna try that. It's gonna fail right here. Because we tried the guardrail, we tried something else. That's generally what you can do. And then in the future, if you want, you can add MCP servers. So let me give you some more hints on what you can do on for example, on like an approval, you can add a Gmail, for example. For example, if you want to send a email of the dish that you want to create, and you can connect your own MCP server. But yeah, that's generally what I was able to build with the new AgentKit from OpenAI. It's very exciting. I think I'm going to tinker with it more and play around with it more, but I'll keep you guys posted. I usually post on my X account or on YouTube here if you're interested on my short form content. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.